School shootings can be a very harsh topic to discuss, but it's a reality that we face every day. Despite the recent violence, school shootings are rare and children are safer in schools than they are outside. The main contributors to why school shootings happen in the United States are: 1. Violent role models. Violent role models on the street, in the cinema, in the news have been with us as long as I can recall and are not limited to America. Back in the 60s, an American counterculture leader said, "Violence is as American as cherry pie." But other parts of the world, such as Northern Ireland, the Balkans, the children armies of Africa, the terrorist camps of the Middle East, have their violent models. Machismo is not an American word, nor is hooligan. Another factor for school shootings is drugs. We do have drug on drug culture, and aspects of this problem are not more severe than in any other parts of the world. Crime is connected during the drug trade, and this crime can spill into the school. But the type of school shooting that occurs in the suburb is seldom connected to the urban issue. There may be an indirect connection since drug wars arm young soldiers of drug wars and arm a large issue of America. Another reason that we have school shootings is access to guns. Access to guns is a significant factor in the American school shootings. If kids could not and did not bring guns to school, we wouldn't have a Columbine, Virginia Tech, or Chardon, Ohio. There have been crimes with knives, bats, and fists, but school shootings are gun crimes. Kids with guns kill kids at school. I do not think America is an extremist nation compared to other nations with bloody histories and despotic leaders. True, we have polarized political speech and some of the speech about access to guns, but the reason we have American school shooting problems that exceeds other nations has to do with access to loaded weapons by kids who should not have that access. And there are preventative measures to help keep schools safe. Physical surveillance is the most commonly used in schools. Examples of physical surveillance is cameras in the halls, classrooms, and other areas where students are at. Next would be weapons of deterrence. The primary goal of the weapon deterrence is to prevent you from bringing weapons to school. Metal detectors and searches of the students' lockers and book bags are not uncommon. With this method, fewer weapons are confiscated, which implies that students are bringing weapons to school less frequently. The presence of security guards and officers employed by the school district or law enforcement on grounds is gaining popular support. This is especially true since the shooting incident in Granite Hills High School near San Diego, California, where a campus police officer was able to intervene quickly and prevent further violence. The duties of campus officers vary from patrolling the school grounds to assisting school personnel with discipline issues. In the spring of 2000, President Bill Clinton bolstered the use of campus officers by providing more than $60 million to support 452 officers nationwide as a part of the Justice Department's Cops in Schools program. Media reports indicate that President Bush might triple the amount of federal support for this program. However, little is known about the long-term or concurrent effects of the presence of uniformed officers that might have on students' feeling of safety. For example, through the presence of an officer may provide peace of mind for administrators and parents. We cannot presume that the students will view the officers as allies or defenders. The presence of uniformed officers can, and in fact, breed a sense of mistrust among students and hence adversely effect of the school climate. Indeed, some preliminary evidence suggests that physical surveillance methods such as metal detectors, searches, and security guards can predict increased disorder. Next is teacher involvement. This means to dispel the fears and help teachers feel supported, and meetings about violence issues are held regularly, possibly a component of general staff meetings. Administrators provide accurate information about violent occurrences and responses to them, involve faculty members in prevention efforts, and listen to their concerns. Also, teachers must teachers' input can be invaluable since it is common for them to have information about threat of violence and also gang activities before administrators do, and to have suggestions for how to deal with it based on personal knowledge of the students. Training in violence prevention and ancillary staff such as school bus drivers as well as teachers can both make the school safer and help the staff feel more secure. Programs can include development of ability to identify students at risk of antisocial behavior for preventative intervention, to identify and diffuse potential violence, and to deal with safety with violence should erupt. Some staff training covers the same issues that compromise training for students, such as conflict resolution. It can be effective to staff to participate along with students. Another way to help reduce school shootings is to use school policies. A wide variety of school policies related to student conduct and dress code is enforced in schools across the nation. Rules and regulations that directly target violence are zero tolerance policies, and such as a single violation results in punishment, often either suspension or expulsion. Although many of these policies pertain specifically to weapons possession at school, others target drug use or possession. Some districts and schools have adopted an anti-bullying zero tolerance policies, thereby targeting persecutors to violence. Regardless of the specific focus of the zero tolerance policies, they have involved an explicit statement of consequences. These get tough practices are presumed to send a message to potentially violent students and decrease school violence. But they may escalate problems also. Repeated school transfers increase the risk for subsequent violence. Also, suspensions are relatively strong predictors of dropping out of school, which in turn is associated with delinquency. One explanation for the links among suspension is dropping out, and delinquency is that a student who is not in school has more uninstructed time with a greater likelihood to contact with deviant peers. Hence, in some cases, punishment tactics employed by schools with zero tolerance policy might result in increased risk of violence for the individual student and for a society at large. And that is my speech on school violence. Thank you.